happened last week?
Well, we were preparing for the east wind. We knew that the winds were coming, and we were kind of making sure that things were tied down, weren't going to blow away, making sure the cat's food was under cover, dog's food under cover, and just checking the garden stuff. And just like that, the wind showed up. I mean, it was literally just all of a sudden the east wind was there, and then the smoke came right in with it. It was already pretty smoky, but it got smoky fast, and debris was falling, and trees and limbs. It just was, the whole thing was like a hurricane's coming or something. It was very scary. And the smoke began to get thicker and thicker. It got dark. We lost power at like 6 o'clock in the evening. So we were getting stuff out for like candles or flashlights and whatnot. Knew we weren't gonna have power the rest of the night at least because of the winds. And then started hearing different things from my mom was keeping in touch with me, like, okay, there's a fire. I just heard them, there's a fire in Gates, and was trying to kind of keep updated so we knew where the fires were happening or whatnot. We didn't think there was a chance that it would come to Mill City, especially in the town. And I had talked to, my son called me at 10:30 that night and said, what if we get evacuated, and you know, where are you gonna go? Where, because he was with his dad. And I said, well honey, your dad and I will keep in touch. We'll know where each other is. You know, I'll find you or you can find me, you know, we'll be fine. And then I had heard there was a fire kind of close to their house. And so I called their dad. I couldn't take it no more. I wanted to know what was going on, how close the fire was to their house. So I called their dad, and he said, well, we're not evacuating quite yet, but you're evacuated, right? And I said, no, why? He said, Allison, there's a fire right by you, right on your mountain. And we only have one way in, one way out. And he said, you weren't supposed to be there. Has nobody told you? I said, no, I don't know anything. I said, the sky is turning red. And he said, yes, Allison, the fire's right by you, get out. So I hung up with him, and I told Don, my boyfriend, I said, yeah, the fire's right down there. We got to go now. Nobody's coming to tell us. We aren't getting told. We got to go. The fire is here. And the winds were really going, and I started seeing embers. And when I saw the burning embers, he was going and he was trying to grab like my bag and my purse. And he's like, okay, you got to get out of here. I was starting to really panic because when I was little, my house burned, and it just is a out of control feeling, and all he was worried about was, we got to get you out now. You got to get out of here now. Call your mom and dad, call the ambulance, police, whatever. We got to get you out. And so I called 911 as he was getting, he was grabbing my bag and stuff for me. And I told the operator on 911, I said where we were. I said, we're up in the mountain. There's one way in and one way out. And there's burning embers falling. And I don't want to die up here. Please don't leave us. Like, I want somebody to know we're here, so come and get us, please. And she said, okay, we have, you know, there's people around. We're sending somebody. And she said, where are you again? I told her where we're at, and she said, you're still in Mill City? And I said, yeah, we don't know. Nobody said anything. She said, anywhere in Mill City needs to get out now. Mill City is on fire, ma'am, you need to go. I said, okay, my car doesn't even run. We're trying to get out. I don't have a way out. She said, okay, I'm gonna call, make sure that the ambulance and fire trucks, they know where you are. And about 10, 15 minutes go by, and it was just getting more and more debris, and I saw some more embers falling. And we were getting in his pickup, and he said, honey, we got to get you down, but I want to save some of our stuff. This is our life, and we don't have insurance. And he said, I know, you got to go. He said, we got to get you down, and I'm going to try to save some stuff. So he said, call the ambulance people again, see if they're coming. If they're not coming, I'm taking you down the hill. And I called 911 again. They said, okay, we're sending somebody. And about that time, we saw the red and blue lights flashing and a spotlight come up our driveway. And I said, oh my God, they're here, they're here, they're here. I got a ride, they're here. And he grabbed my arm and said, come on, the ambulance is here, we're going. And he had my bag and my stuff. And that's when our phones went off for a level 3 evacuation go. You know, I almost like threw my phone. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, when we're burning up, now we get the level 3 go. So we ran over and the ambulance guys were coming up. They said, you know, you guys gotta go. Do you have a way out or do you wanna get in? And I said, I'm going with you. And they grabbed my stuff and my cat was running down. We have like 10 cats. All of a sudden, one cat had kittens and the other one had kittens, and all of a sudden in a week we had like 10 cats, and he has a dog. And one of the cats was following me, and one of the ambulance guys grabbed the cat and threw it in the ambulance. And they took one of my bags, and he handed me the other bag, and he gave me a kiss and said, I'll be right behind you. And I said, you better come, you better not go back up there and stay, you better be behind me. And I got in the ambulance and we went down the hill. And I tried not to look when we were going down because I didn't want to see it. But you could see, we would drive a little ways and there was nothing but smoke. And then all of a sudden there'd be like 2 or 3 stumps on fire and a tree on fire. And then nothing. We go around the corner and there's nothing. And then all of a sudden there's a big tree on fire and a tree falling. And it was just, there was fire here and there. It was very weird how the fire just, it wasn't one big fire that spread. It was like just shooting little bits of fire everywhere. And the ambulance crew took me down to Mill City, and I had my cat and my 3 bags, and I got to 7-Eleven, and there was just a line of cars evacuating Mill City. And I called my mom and told her where I was, and she said, well, we're getting evacuated. Basically, we're on a level 2. We're getting our stuff ready. They live in Lyons. And she said, are you able to get a ride here? If not, we're coming to get you. And I said, well, there's a line of people leaving. I'm sure I know somebody, or I'm sure somebody would give me a ride. And I did. I walked out, and the cars were just stopped, and a really nice lady, she's like, you and your cat? Well, yeah, of course, you know. And so I got in, and I got in with her, and she gave me a ride to my parents. And I had texted him when I got there to 7-Eleven, and I said, I'm here at 7-Eleven. I'm getting a ride to my mom and dad's. Where are you at? And he said, okay, I'm throwing the cats in now. I'm coming. And I got to my parents' house, and they were getting evacuated out. So when we left my parents' house, I texted him again, and I said, we're leaving here, going towards Dayton. Where are you at? And I didn't hear back from him. And I didn't hear back. His family was calling me, and we were all trying to call him, and his phone, it would ring a couple times and then just go dead, and he wasn't answering. And when we left Mill City, it was just fire on both sides of the highway, and you could see houses back behind. And I know now that it was Kelly Lumber, the lumber store. And when we were leaving on the highway, like, I knew there was where it should be just beautiful houses along the river. They were gone, like already totally gone. So they had obviously been burning for a little bit. And when I seen all of that and seen how much fire was around at that time, I was so mad that we were just now leaving and that nobody had said anything. There was no level 1, be ready, or no level 2, get your stuff ready to go. We just got a level 3, get out. And at that point, it was almost too late. And it was 4.5 hours later before we got a hold of him again. And we had called the Marion County Sheriff, and his nephew was on his way down from Troutdale to come and pick me up and find him, or, like, where's my uncle? We gotta go find him. And we kind of took some detours and made our way around some blockades and got back to Mill City. And it was probably like 4 in the morning, 4:30, something like that in the morning. And Mill City had power. I don't understand how or why Mill City had power when things were burning all around us. There was explosions, and I was told the explosions were the transformers and power lines. And since they've been working on the Mill City Bridge, the bridge was shut down. So to get from one side of Mill City to the other side of Mill City, you have to go to Gates or to Lyons. Oh. So we live on the other side of the highway. The only way that we could get in was on the other side of the river in Mill City. So there's a walking bridge that you can walk across, and right when we got there, and there was just a couple of people there, they were filling up water from the river, and like a private water truck, and the police were escorting them through, like getting them to wherever the fire was, wherever they needed to be. And we talked to a police officer and told him why we're here, and I said, he's up there, and you couldn't see because of the smoke. You couldn't see, 30 feet away from you. All you could see is just red smoke. And I said, that's where I live, up there on that mountain, and that's where my boyfriend's at. And we haven't talked to him for 4 hours, and I need somebody to go get him. I can't go back up there. And the police said they started talking on their radios, and they said, we'll find somebody that can go up there, or we'll try to find him. And about that time, my nephew was like, oh my gosh, Uncle, where are you at? And I could hear him on the phone. And I'm like, oh my God, never mind, he's alive, we got him on the phone. And he was coughing, and he just said, honey, I'm coming. And I said, where are you? And then the phone went dead. And so my nephew said, I'm going. He's on his way down. I'm going up there. And he took off. He bundled up and got his boots on and put scarves around his face. And he was walking up. He didn't care. He was going to find his uncle. And he called me. His nephew called me about 5-10 minutes after he left and walked across the bridge to go find him. He said, I'm getting in his truck right now. I have him. He's okay. We're in his truck and we're coming down. We're almost there. He'd almost made it down the hill. And he looks okay, but he's coughing pretty good. And I couldn't see him, or we couldn't get to each other because the bridge was closed. So we left in my nephew's pickup on the back way out of Mill City, and my nephew jumped in and he drove Dawn in the pickup, and we were going to meet in Lyons. And we got to Lyons first, and when I saw them coming, he has a green pickup and like 4 or 5 big KC lights on the top, and he had all those lights on, and there was a line of cars behind him. And they said that when they came through the highway, that there was a few cars pulled off on the side of the road that they couldn't see, so they couldn't drive. And when they saw him go by with his lights on, they all got back on the highway and followed him because he had his lights all on. And so he had a whole line of cars coming. And they pulled over, and he got out, and he was just black. He had his shorts on and boots, and his tank top had been wrapped around. He had said he dumped a bottle of water on it and put it around his face and around his head. And he was just black. He looked like he just rolled around in the dirt. And he was coughing, and he was upset. He said, honey, I'm sorry. I tried to save your stuff. I'm so sorry. I said, I told you I could care less about any of this stuff. You were supposed to be behind me. I just need you. And he had all the cats, and he had his dog. And he was able to get a few things out. And he said that, he said it was the scariest thing. He said the fire was just, it was like taunting him. He said that he stopped, and he's like, you are not taking all of her stuff, not yet. And he would have been able to fight it a lot more, but the power was out, so we had no water. And he had a few fire extinguishers. And at one point he had my chest, my cedar chest thing he was carrying with all of my my grandma's stuff that she left me. And when he turned to walk out, he said that the doorway was on fire and he had to just drop it and run. And he felt so guilty about it. I told him he's got to stop. He can't feel guilty. Could care less about all that stuff. I'm just glad he made it out. I said, I never forgive myself if that's why you didn't make it out. And so we drove in here to the hospital, and he's had too much smoke inhalation. He had asthma to begin with. He's been having trouble with his asthma for a week now. Before this, he wasn't even supposed to be outside breathing it, period. And he's had some trouble with his breathing, and then some trouble with the guilt and feeling guilty about it. There are so many stories that I've been hearing, and so many people have lost their lives. And like Kelly Lumber, that was his life. That store was his life, his retirement, everything. It's gone. There's so many people that it was such a close call, and I feel like we should have known. We should have had much more warning, especially the people up on the North Fork in Detroit. And I've been hearing things that, like the Forest Service, they weren't allowed to go in because it wasn't a top priority. And then when they were allowed to go in, it was too dangerous and it was too late. The fire department, all those people, they're all risking their lives and continue to risk their lives. They didn't have enough warning either. It's just, there's so much loss. It was so unnecessary, and I feel like it so could have been prevented. There's so much underbrush in the forest and in the wilderness. I've lived in a timber industry town, and I fully believe in the loggers and the timber industry, and I will always be behind it. You have to be able to, there has to be a balance. And without that balance, it gets thrown off.
Alison, I'm so sorry. You guys didn't even have a level 1, so you had nothing ready to go.
No. We just knew that we knew it was getting dangerous, or it could be dangerous, it could be close, but from where we were to the Beachie Fire was like 26 miles away. And there's no way, 26 miles of forest land and hills and a town, there's no way that some winds are gonna push that fire that far. And it didn't necessarily push the fire, but it pushed all the embers, and the wind carried stuff, and then the power going out, and the power lines and the transformers blowing. It sounded like battle or war. I mean, the sky was red and it was smoky, you couldn't see, and the wind was blowing, so stuff was in your eyes, and then you hear explosions in the background, and it's definitely a very big eye-opener for a lot of people.
It's traumatizing.
Very traumatizing.
Where's he at now? What's the latest?
He's still in the hospital. We thought we would be going home, or we thought he would be getting discharged yesterday, and his lungs kind of went backwards overnight yesterday, and he was still wheezing pretty good and coughing, and so they wanted him to stay in there one more day, and we haven't talked to the doctor yet this morning, but he's stable, definitely stable. He's just, because he has a history of asthma and his lungs were already kind of damaged, and then going through this, it's taken a little bit more for them to get healed up. And like the doctor said, if it wasn't smoky outside, and if I knew you were going somewhere indoors where it was completely not smoky and the air was healthy, that would be one thing. But since you're not, I don't feel comfortable letting you go right now. The hospital has been amazing. They've been so helpful, and the fire happened on Tuesday morning, and Saturday the 12th was his birthday. And the nurses all signed a card and brought it to him, and the nurses have been really great. The doctor's been really great too. I've been completely taken back by all the help, and like just when you think humanity is gone, it's not. I started a GoFundMe page that was really hard for me to do. I'm not very good at those sort of things. I'm not good at asking or saying, hey, I need help. And I have 5 kids, and my 2 boys come and stay with us. I have shared custody with my ex-husband, and I had their stuff there too. I had, they have clothes and shoes and their toys, and their stuff was there with me too. And I had talked to them. I said, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry that your stuff is gone. And they both kind of chuckled and said, Mom, why would you say that? We don't care about our stuff. I want you and Dawn to have stuff back. I said, man, we must have raised you boys right. And then they sent me a picture of, they didn't know it, but it was a girl I went to high school with who I've known all my life. She's fundraising or gathering stuff in Staten, and they had seen a picture of all of this stuff, and it said, if you've been affected, come grab what you need. So my boys took a picture on their phone and they sent it to me, and they said, Mom, call this lady in Staten, you can go get some stuff. They're 10. I said, oh honey, you know what? I said, I know her. I've known her all my life. I will call her. And it's horrible that it's a horrible tragedy has to happen, but there are good things that come out of it. And I'm a firm believer that God works in very messed up, mysterious ways. And I don't understand him. I don't understand why he does the things he does. But I do know that there's a reason. And you just have to wait for that reason.
You're right. You're right.
I don't know why it had to happen. I don't know why so many things had to be gone. But for some reason it had to. And I know the Santiam Canyon and all those people up there, and they're such a tight community, and nobody will let anybody go without anything. Everybody takes care of everybody. Companies that work against each other, or they're competitors, that's all pushed aside when stuff like this happens.
That community is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And the fact that people already banded together and they got supplies ready, and you could text this woman. I mean, I'm seeing stickers made. And
yes. Yeah, I've seen that.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I had a lady, my mom texted me and said, there's a lady that's going to be contacting you. Just let her do what she wants. And she texted me and said, hi, my name's Katie, and I have some stuff for you and your family, and I want to get you some more stuff. What do you need? Or what sizes are you? And she's been amazing. I have no idea who she is, but she's been texting me, and she sent me a picture of bags of clothes and bags of things, and she said, this is just a touch of what we've found for you. I've been it's completely humbling. And I needed a taxi or a bus ride or something to get to the pharmacy, and I went over to the fairgrounds, and the taxi service that I had called, I got in, and they said, so you're at the hospital, is everything okay? And I told them a little bit, and they said, well, just so you know, you call me. I'm not charging you a dime for this ride, and you need something while you're here, you call me.
Wow.
It's
incredible.
It's been really amazing that there are good people still. It's nice to know that.
So true. So it's what you need in all this, the crazy time that we're in.
Yeah.
In our world.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And did you guys own that home?
We were renting.
Okay, so you didn't have renter's insurance. Okay.
No.
Which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
If it's not required, a lot of people don't.
Right.
You didn't expect a wildfire there.
Yeah. And with everything going on in the economy and so many people are already out of work or already pulled tight and cut short on things, and we feel very fortunate that we have family and that we have friends, and for people who might not have that, it's really heartbreaking. And that's what I'm thankful for, that there are people out there that are more than willing to share and donate and help, and it's needed. Sometimes it's hard to ask for.
You guys are proud. That's why you live up there. I mean, seriously, you guys are the toughest of the tough.
Yeah.
You can make it out there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Don, my boyfriend, his mom, she hasn't talked to him on the phone yet, because she said, I know once I talk to him, I'm not going to be able to talk, and I know I'm going to just set him off, but I want you to know that he's my hero. And she said, and my nephew is my hero, or I guess it's her grandson. She said, and my grandson, he's my hero, because he went and got him, and you're my hero for being there with him and for doing what you've done and for making all the calls and now helping with what you're helping with.
You guys are going to be stronger from this.
Yeah.
And so last question for you, where are you guys going to go?
It's a good question. We have a couple options. Our families, neither one of our families would let us go without. And we just got news this morning that there might be a fifth wheel getting donated to us. Katie, my little angel that's been texting me, she sent me a picture of a fifth wheel, and she said, if this is possible this weekend, where would you want me to take it to? And we would love to take it to our property where we're at, but as far as we're told, we're not allowed in, and the roads are all blocked, and been hearing so much confusion with who's allowed in, who's not allowed in, and if you are allowed in, once you leave, you can't come back, and so I'm not sure.
I'm sure you want to go see it with
Yes.
your eyes.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to rebuild there because you don't own it, so you have to find somewhere else.
The property owner he was in contact with me the next day as soon as he heard and found out, and he's been in contact with us every day saying, what do we need? What do you need? What do we need to do? And he's been right there helping too.
That's tough for him because he's got to deal with the logistics
Yeah.
of the house burning and what,
Yeah.
coordinating with the renter.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's a whole new adventure for everybody.
You will come out of this stronger.
I believe that. I believe there's a reason.
Thank you for sharing your story. I know it's not easy.